Well, hello, YouTubers out there and everyone who follows Flying with Mike. Folks, we're doing this special on YouTube today. We are out in St. Louis, Missouri, gonna do a training flight. Do a little bit more flying with the Queen, get more affiliated and assimilated into these new procedures. Folks, this is the real deal. I mean, you've got a seriously intense product here out of Felix. You got to really pay attention to all that you do. So we're just kind of giving you a little flavor of X-Plane 12 as we come into Lambert. Um, so let me scoot up a little so you can see where we're coming in at. There you go. It's a marginal day here. I mean, we're VFR out of St. Louis, but we've been kind of cloudy, rainy on this great day for flying. So, and like I said, expect nothing more than, there could be some pausing, stopping, starting as we get into the flight. So, yeah, we finally made the 30-mile trek into Lambert. There's the beastie sitting on the ramp. So, we'll get the TWA 747 airborne. All right, let's get the jetway put in. And alrighty, folks. So that's what we're looking at. This is Lambert. Highly recommend the airport here. Now we're in X-Plane 12. I can't fully say that the X-Plane 11, which I'm here to tell you, folks, is just downright spectacular. Great job to the developer who made the St. Louis airport. He did a great job. Great job to X-Plane, who really made St. Louis come alive this time in X-Plane 12. We got the arch, a little bit of the downtown, actually a lot of it when we're actually over it. But you only got a little taste of it. So, but here on the St. Louis scenery, it is phenomenal. So, folks, you didn't come here to get a tour of St. Louis. You came to get some knowledge and learn about the Queen of the Sky sitting on the ground here. So get a little bit more of a look at the Queen, and then we'll start putting her to the to flight. All right, let's get in here. One last look, and you get also a little quick look at St. Louis too. And this is, by the way, folks, when I do streams and I do videos, I try my hardest not to put scenery in. Really want to spotlight the X-Plane scenery. Now we have in past streams and videos that you can search for out there come across some mistakes. X-Plane 12 is still beta at least for another month. Could go longer if, as they release a couple more betas, things don't go right. It could go longer. Who knows? It's, way out of my ballpark. But, folks, we are in Stand Echo 33. And let's get in the office and let's see what we can do here. All right, folks, we're in the office here. Now, I will caveat this. This is going to be a little bit of a tutorial in helping folks get the bird going. But where I'm going to be focusing on in this video is right up here. And then let me use official flight simulator terminology. And this doohickey right here. No, just kidding. Let me turn up some lights here in the cabin. Don't think I have them all up yet. There we go. And over here, yeah, we got those. And we got those. Now, I have set the time for a 7 o'clock-ish time frame here so that it gives us a working with a little bit of, moving from sunrise to daylight, plus the clouds. You'll get a good look at the 3D clouds here once we start our climb. Again, we're going to Kansas City, Missouri. Folks, it's just like the title says, cross state training day, meaning we're going from one side of the state here in St. Louis to the other side of Missouri, Kansas City. It's about a 200 straight line mile run. I think we're looking at air miles of about 300-ish, 310, somewhere in there. So we do have also a brisk headwind. And speaking of a headwind, let's move into it, shall we? Let's first pre-brief this so y'all know what we're flying through, and then we'll actually get in and start setting up the Queen for a departure in approximately 1 hour. All right, and to do this, we like to bring in Sim Toolkit. Now, I am going to plug it because, folks, it is an outstanding program. I don't get paid for it. I just do it because I really love this program. Granted, a short flight here, you can see the whole flight. But, folks, it gives you so much information. It gives you great information after the flight. Folks, it is by far the best I've seen out there for what it does. And if you stream like I do, and I do stream, folks, over at Twitch, look us up, Flying with Mike. You're going to get some tools to help you out with it too. So really a great program. Oh, I always forget to mention that it's free. As a commercial we always see here on TV for Medicare, Martha, why didn't you just say that? It's free, folks. So, all right, so let's get after it now. Let's do a little cleanup here. There we go. All right. So as you can see, this is going to be our route. And up here in little writing, Ozark 8 to HLV to BQS to the BQS 7 into Kansas City. Game plan 12 right. Here for takeoff, landing 1 right there, Kansas City. Now that might shift. We'll see, only because I may want the longer runway. Unfortunately, with the longer runway, there comes a slightly longer taxi, I believe. So I think they were in the B hemisphere there. All right, so let's take a look, shall we? All right, so for the takeoff here, we're leaving St. Louis, runway 12 right, as we alluded. We're looking at an 11,000 foot runway, plenty for this flight. Like I said, it's a short one. You can see that over there on the right-hand side, 300 miles. Load out for today. 293 brave souls flying with Mike today. Payload will be 68,360. There's our zero fuel, and our block fuel will be 54,235, and that is pounds. Now, SimBrief has been gracious to give us 36,000. You can all stop laughing now because even I still want to laugh at that. I'm going to shoot for 30,000 and go for whatever else I can get because I really don't think we can, in 300 miles, literally 200 miles. As you can see, the ground distance 261. Folks, I don't think reasonably we could make 36,000. I'm stretching it to think we can make 30,000. We're going to shoot for it though. All right. And again, Mach 8.5. If we're at 30, I may adjust it because I don't, again, know. We'll see. All right. So that wraps up our pre-flight. Now, a couple things to show off here to help y'all, go, hey, it's a free download. Why not get it? If you come into an airport, okay, granted, we're on the road, let's do it. We get into Kansas City and we're on VATSIM and they go, taxi via Alpha Bravo Echo Charlie. Okay, folks, first off, I don't know if those taxiways exist, but well, they probably do. And they probably don't work out the way I said they would. But anyway, so look at that. Alpha Bravo. I have the taxiways right here. You can also zoom in on both the live map and the flight summary map all the way down and see it as well. If you don't have a charts program. Again, free program. So over here on the right hand side, so we can get this show rolling, 303 nautical miles. Well, we'll see. JT9 Delta engines, and we're looking at our 54,235 gallons of fuel, or pounds of fuel. Almost got me all screwed up. Now, the interesting thing on this trip also, folks, besides this, is our alternate we're sitting at. So if for some reason it doesn't look like we can get into Kansas City, we're coming back. Hence, why we have this here. We'll come back Lakes 3 to Columbia, to Kayla, and come right in. Interesting. Sorry about that, folks. Didn't want to cough in your ears. All right, so here's our outbound route. As my nose is trying to take over my mouth. Excuse me. All right, so Ozark 8 to HLV, as we said in the beginning, BQS to the BQS 7-star arrival. Everything here is set up to be conventional. So if you want to fly this route, you can do it VOR to VOR. That's why I set them up. And not to say that the 747 would have flown them that way, because it did have an INS back in its heyday. But it's there if you want to do it. All right, and finally coming down, here's our loadout. Graciously giving us 3,900 pounds of cargo. We'll see what it actually ends up to once we load up, because we're going to shoot for, again, 455,049 pounds of zero fuel weight. All right, all of that said and done, let's pop back here. Another thing I can do real quick, check the weather. And at both places. All right, so, and folks, since I'm going along here in the pre-flight, let's go ahead and move it right along into the get this bird ready to fly, otherwise known as the pre-flight. Okay, this is where the meat and potatoes hit the plane. Okay, so this is the EFB on here, electronic flight bag. You will see when you come into it, it tells you your frame rates. Hey, that's a cool thing. Av tab, if you have it, load calculator, and refuel and payload. Now I'm going to talk about these three more in depth here in a minute. You got an INS, which all it's going to do is give you your current position if you're using them, be able to give you a clear, quick align, and allow you to open a flight plan and all of that good stuff. We're not using it. Ground, that's where we were. You can remove your chocks, disconnect GPU, do all of these neat things. Now, with the newest version out, which is available for you X-Plane11ers, you get more doors than just the main cabin door. Hang on a second. That frog is really trying to take over the throat. Oh, actually, it's just a lot of stuff coming down from the nose, just causing a lot of troubles. All right, and then from there we have fast load, which is what you would think the word means. It's going to load your plane fast. We can do it also in other places. Finally, you have checklists. We'll use some of them, and calculations. All right, now I said I'd get into detail with these three. This one here is what we use to start with. What it's going to do is only, and let me really stress, only calculate. It's not going to load your plane. Um, Although I see instant load, I've never tried it. It will not load it. Okay. But like we're going to do here, folks, it allows you to set up your load sheet, which you can use on the other two icons to actually load it and actually load fuel. All right. So as we saw on Sim Toolkit, we have a estimated zero fuel weight of 455,049 pounds. Okay, well, let's see if we can get to that. I'm going to start at 75%, and we're at 293. So we just need to drop 2 people off here on the calculation. So we'll do one there, one there. Okay, we're at 451. We need to hit 455 to start with. So let's start adding cargo. So we're actually going to run with more cargo than SimBrief predicts. That just means I need to get in there and figure out what one person weighs in this plane and then take it from there. I can then update SimBrief so that my calculations are better. So that's on me. All right, so like I said, we need to come up roughly, we'll call it 4,000 pounds. So all right, so we're, where are we at here? 450. Oh, we're still 451. Let's keep going. Got a long way to go, don't we? Let's do it this way. 1,400 each. What we're doing is adding. All right, we're there. Then we'll back it off here. All right, so 454,949. Let's see if we can't trim that up. Oh, right on it. 455,049. So we're right up on our zero fuel. Now it's time to work on destination. So we're looking at a trip of 300 miles. Nice and short, folks. Probably rarely flown by the plane. Let's make sure we're going west. West is odd. All right, let's keep it at 31 for now. Now, tailwind. We know we got a tailwind here, folks, and that tailwind is 68 knot, or not a tailwind, headwind. So, learn this. I didn't know you could do this. Look at that. I can go negative, which means now it's coming more at the nose. Let's start there. Alternate distance, well, we know it's 300 miles. This is St. Louis. All right, and we were wanting 54,235. Let's back this down a little. Let's see if it'll help us any by just going with a zero wind. It's not. That's getting us a little closer, but I like a little bit extra in the tanks. We're gonna, will we be able to save much? Nope. So what we'll do is just, plan 58,793. All right, so now, once we are happy with these, we can actually look at the load sheet. This is what's going to be used on the next two icons. All right, so you can see that we're loading 64,000, 460 in the cabin. Here's what the compartments have. Here's what the passenger I'm sorry, this is the passenger cabin. This is the cargo bins. Okay, and then got all the other numbers below it. Our Mac takeoff landing center of gravities, we're looking at a 2.7 trim. And again, our limits, and then our block fuel, landing fuel, 15 minutes, and our contingency. Okay, again, all this does, folks, is calculate. Next page. All right, we're going to start by refueling. Now, this one, I am actually going to instant refuel. Every time I try this, the fuel doesn't load right, but I'm going to first do it this way. Okay, so we're only going to load 58,793. That's roughly, that's what we're loading. I'm going to go ahead and instant fuel. Okay, so it is in there now. Payload. Same thing. I can instant board and load, or I can real-time board, real-time load. In this case, I'll do these. I would if I was smart and did that. Now let's board and load. So the cargo goes quick. People, you ever walked in an airport, folks? They just kind of, I think I'm just gonna take my time. That plane will wait. They're not leaving with me. I paid for my seat. They will close the door on you and leave without you. How do I know this? I work at an airport and see it every day. Spend a lot of money to screw it up by doing that, folks. All right, anyway, enough said. We're on. All right, so we're now up to 21 people. So let's get into getting this bird ready to go, shall we? All right, like I said, we are powered up. The battery's on. Oops, that's up here. Standby power's here, on. And we're on the ground power. Before we look at anything else over here, okay, we have ourselves aligned, so we can switch to nav. Okay, I got those going before we started. And then we just come down. We got the anti-skid on, auto body, gear steering. Basically what that is, for those not really familiar with these heavies, when they take a turn, you can see if you take a turn and those struts are rigid here in the middle, it's going to do some damage over time, folks, more than you want. And folks, this plane ain't cheap even back in the day it was made. So they can actually turn these wheels. Now the pilot's not turning them, they just automatically do it. And it also helps cut down the radius they take. So otherwise it'd be a pretty chunk of real estate for them to get turned. All right, so we got that armed. Coming down, I just look for everything's in place. This gauge, which is usually your cell count information, you set it to HF1, HF2, low, and it's for your cell count. It doesn't work. Neither does your UHF radios, but I do it just so they're set. Coming down the next one and checking that, make sure 2 pings, good. Aligned, start valves closed, we're in normal. Emergency lights armed. And coming down the next row, same thing, aligned is now nav and off, and just kind of walking ourselves down. Okay, we want to make sure the essential radio's on. Number 2 is on. Stall warning check. If it says test, click on it, folks. Okay, no tests here, but this is your engine anti-ice. Wing anti-ice, there is an overheat check. Make sure the lights come on and go off. Good deal. Probe heaters. This is those little pitot tubes on the nose, little small planes on the wing. Be careful, because if they're on, they're very hot. But in this case, they're off. So depending how long it's been on the ground and all of that, don't touch them. It could still be hot. But we want to check the test. See, it says test up top. Okay. And then I also Okay, looks like they'll come on, and we'll do the overheat test here. Oops, got to turn the power on. Okay, lights on. And we'll go ahead and turn them on. Finally, check your lighting. Make sure all your lights are on. We don't want the dome. Usually what I do on the ground is run with the logo light and the nav lights to signify we got power on the plane. This will check all of your indicator lights to make sure they're good and ready to go. They look good on the overhead panel. Down below, all the lights look good. And as we traverse all the way down the plane, they look good too there. Now, there is a separate one for the flight engineer. All right, so pretty well got this set up for the captain and first officer. So let's move down. I haven't set this up yet the way I like it. That's on me. Sorry, folks. There we go. All right, so we want to first make sure the radio nav or INS switch is radio. Now we're going to do what's called an up, left, down, right VOR check. Basically, this needle you see here, folks, it's going to move left or right, depending which one we're in. It's in the right position, so it won't go right any further. But when we do the left, it will. And we're looking for the glide slope to go up or go down, whichever way we select. And it's always best to use an ILS. I think that is one here. I just wanted to make sure. All right, charts, and we're looking for, I think we came in 30 left, 111.5. Okay, good. Do not matter what's up here. All we're worried is if this moves. However, so let's go ahead and do it. Up, you see the up on the glide slope, both HSI and your PF, your artificial horizon. By the way, we're talking this gauge. Saw the needle move and the up. Okay, down right, we will not see the vertical needle move over, but we will see the glide slope go down. Perfect. We do that one more time. Okay, and that's off. Okay, continuing over, auto throttle's off. We're in dual, we're in heading. We're off on the pitch indications. And let's do the same thing over here. We'll set 111.5. Up, down. Perfect. Off, off. Okay. All right, now moving over. Now we start checking some of the gauges. All right, first thing we can do is if these are flashing, click on them. But we're going to start with these two. Again, PTT means push to test. While I'm here real quick, stand by. Altimeter is 3011. Go ahead and set that. All right, 3011. Okay, now we're going to test the artificial horizon here on the HSI gauge. It's tested good, and we got a warning. PTI, PT, good, good. Lights up. All right. Okay, we're doing an indicated warning test. And over to the other one, because I just want to get it turned off. Okay. All right, we're going to come down just a smidge more, because we're missing the other fun things we have to do. So we'll click the max reset indicator. This one you've all heard. You'll note as soon as you hear it. It's the altitude alert. Okay. Just set back to 5. Okay. Next one, if you've listened to any of Flying with Mike, you hear this one all the time.
Pull up, glide slope, glide slope. Pull up, glide slope, glide slope.
Okay, and it will get this quite a bit where it zooms out, and then we got to zoom back in. I don't know why it does that. All right, all this one's going to do is light up an idiot light over here, but rudder ratio is good. All right, now we move on. Let's do the Copilot side. Hey, there's push to test, push to test. Everything looks good. We can test the artificial horizon. Everything's good. Let me just back over here. Okay. Oh, we missed a gauge. My bad. I just saw it over here. Missed one. The radar altimeter. This is your AGL. This is MSL. So how high above sea level? How high above ground level? Difference being sea level here at St. Louis is 600-ish feet above sea level. So sea level 600 feet below us here. This gauge reads above the actual ground. So this is what we use coming down the ILS when we get into really intense cloud ceilings low and low visibility, because we get to the minimum here and you hear it barking minimums. If you don't see the runway, out we go. Unless you're flying with Mike and we're on a simulator and the virtual passengers have no clue. Um, just kidding, folks. We try not to, but we have come in below minimums. All right, not in the 7.4 yet. We haven't really gotten that bad yet. It's winter time, so we'll get into it at least once. All right, now another thing is, I believe in the settings on the EFB, you can actually set it to sync both pilot, co-pilot when you set the altimeter and the radar altimeter. They all sync. That's why the gauge already reads 3011. Now, when we do the altimeter test over here, I was going to do it and forgot. You're going to see the GPWS in up. You're going to get the red flag, and you're going to get and that tells you it worked fine. You don't get the tone on the first officer side. Don't know why, but you just don't. Looks good, and see, no tone. All right, so now we'll just kind of come down a little, move back over. Couple of things we're going to do here. We're going to start warming up the radar screen, not the radar yet. These are what are called CRTs. And to most of you born 2000 on have no idea what a CRT is. It's the old version of the monitors in front of you. Those of you that may work in old computer rooms and stuff like that may still see them. A keyword, big quotes, air quotes, may. They're dinosaurs, folks, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you, like me, old fossils. All right, so moving on. So the next row of gauges, we check real quick while we're here. No TCAS means it's not on. That's good. We also make sure our switches are set and the low pressure brake source is running. Coming across. Oh yeah, I didn't mention this. I went ahead and got rid of the wheel. It's in the way most of the time on the ground. When we come in on approach, I'll bring it back because I can click off the autopilot from it. Otherwise, it's useless. Pilots go, man, I wish we could have done that back in the day. Yeah, we can do that on planes of the day too. But anyway, moving on. All right, so there really no other gauges now to check. We've already done the checks for the HSI. INS compass, they're all set properly, and you can see the gauge set. All right, at this point, I am going to, first off, I'm going to do it before I forget. Let's move down here, throttle check. That means we're not ready for takeoff, folks, if you stick it like that and ready to go. Obviously, the engines aren't running, the flaps aren't set, and the brakes are still on. So, you know, that kind of helps. But while we're here, let's make sure. Okay, we got power on the stab trim here, which this will need to be turned on, so we'll do it now because we're going to be setting a lower trim than the green. We got to be within that green arc. Spoilers are down detent. We did the thrust. And the flaps are up, showing 0 and 0 on the gauges. All right, coming down. Okay, fuel selectors are in the idle cutoff. Fun thing about the Felis and a lot of the planes now, folks, we can physically turn down the comm radios. Which you're all going, why would we do that? Well, there are times when people come on because they think they can't be heard and their voice is 100 times louder than everybody else, and they blow your eardrums out in your headset. So we have the ability to say, haha, we're going to turn you down. You ain't doing that a second time. Also, with that ability, we can turn up the nav radios and actually identify that we have the right one. Thing the old pilots used to do. We can also up and down the PA. There are PA announcements here. So you have that ability here, so make sure it's set the way you want it. Radio frequency wise, we're not going to be on VATSIM out of respect since we're going to be pausing potentially quite a bit, but we'll still set up for it, which is 122.8. This one I just use. This is a backup Unicom and our emergency frequency. Okay, coming across the bottom, let's go to NOP, or I'm sorry, XPDR or POR, I forget how that says it. I think it's a D, yeah. And all it's doing is, if you're in VATSIM, folks, it makes it go mode C, so you don't get an irate controller going, you're not squawking mode C, please do that. Sometimes they don't use the word please, and sometimes they're worse. Anyway, and then we can move the radar to standby, and I put the panel up to 5 degrees, and that's up in the nose. All right. And lastly, yes, the first flight officer would do this because he's trying to help get the plane out on time. And your rudder is set and we're good to go. Now, in flight, if you're trying to find your ground speed, it's right here. Usually you'll see it right here on this INS. Obviously, you saw we're not running INS, we're running FMC. And it's not out of disrespect. I know I would love to do it, but I had so much problems. And granted, it was 10 to 15 years ago. I don't want to go through that. It got really frustrating. So I stopped using them altogether. And I actually broke down, got an FMC program to run on all aircraft back then, other than the ones that came with like PMDG and others. And my flying experiences got better. So that's why. It's no disrespect, folks. If you want to use it, power to you. Me, on the other hand, I'm just doing it this way. All right, so we're leaving KSTL, going to KMCI. I don't think we have a route in there, but it's not a tough one to put in. We are going to be Teeny Weeny Airlines. Yeah, you heard it correctly. Those would know out there who've been around with it understand the language. Those of you who never saw TWA, shame on you. You're too young. Oh, I didn't want to go to legs. We want to go here. Okay, departure. All right, we are going to go off 12 right. That is the 11,000. I'm making sure I choose the right one. 12 right. Hang on, I'm double checking it. Everything here. 11,020 feet. That's the one I want. 12 right. I did this once, folks, and ended up on the very short runway. So I very much do. And we're doing the HLV Hallsville, I think it's called, transition. Back to flight plan. Folks, it's so simple. I'm not even going to make fun of how simple it is. Because all we got to do is go here, and I'm just going to put in EQS. I may have to talk to a friend of mine's first or second grader and have her help me with the alphabet since I had a hard time finding Q. Um, Execute. We're done. All right, and we are going to be doing the standby. I'm pretty sure one right is 9,500 feet. Let's go ahead and do it. Why not? So, right, and one right. Spicy. Hang on. Hang on. Now we got to do this and this. Still getting used to the new charts program, folks. To me, I wish they'd have left it alone, but I took the update. I guess I didn't have to. People are telling me, but it is sometimes challenging to me. All right, so SPEC'S is 17-mile final. What's the other one? Turkey? Oh, that'd be appropriate for the day. Let's go ahead and do spicy just because that gives us plenty of time to set up. Now, the actual BQS arrival does start at Kirksville. LMN, I should know it, but it's escaping me. SPI is Springfield, Illinois. So it does start a good distance out. But we're only coming from St. Louis. We're going to start right at BQS. But we're going to also, on legs, after we make sure she has legs, let's see here. We're going to make sure we're loaded up properly. So we're going to move that up, execute. Basically, I'm wanting to make sure no discontinuities. Okay, so Ozark is STL, Cabot, HLV, and that looks good there. Next page. Okay, now we're on the Bramer, which is the BQS. Okay, so we start at Bramer, BQS, Donus, Mats, 12,000 foot. Well, we're not set fully up yet. And BIGEC, perfect. That'll be a vector for Victor to handle. Then spicy barbecue and turkey. And what a lineup there, folks. Spicy barbecue turkey. Then into some ribs. Man, we just got a meal down this one. So, with a little hot buy on the end. All right, so sorry about that, folks. Had to have a little fun. All right, so the leg part is looking good. That's the biggest thing we wanted to make sure. Go to VNAV next. Actually, let's go back to F-Plan, click Execute to be safe. Now let's come up here next. Like I said, we're going to try for 31,000. No promises, folks. And we'll go to progress. 100, see what I mean? 136 miles, folks. I'm sorry, correction, 250 miles. Folks, we did a flight from St. Louis to O'Hare. Real world. I hate to admit that I was actually on an MD-80. But anyway, I know some of you go, that is one of the best airplanes in the world. I agree to disagree with you. Anyway, we barely made 28. And that's about a 250-mile run. So that's why I'm saying we might make it just because we got to come off the 1-2, come around, come back up. That could give us enough to get it up there. But then we're going to come right back down. All right. So a little bit of what's to come, folks, as we get to the departure brief. All right. So that gets the FMC all up and running. Now remember, real world, this is a 3-man crew. Okay, you got your captain usually over here, your first officer. Behind the first officer is the man of the hour, the man that does it all. He's the one that runs the show, even though the captain thinks he does. He has every system on the plane in front of him. And he's making sure. He's checking his list, checking it twice, gonna make sure we get there safe and tight. So, All right, so there we go, folks. The aircraft in the front is ready to go. In the back, we got a ways to go. All right, so let's check our loadout real quick. Hey, everybody's on board. All the cargo's here. All right, they're waiting on us, so that's a bad thing. I already can hear one streamer on Twitch saying, "Up, oh, he's on YouTube. Disregard. He's on YouTube. That's a bad thing. It's on us." But anyway, it does take time to get this going, folks. And if you're on the INS, it takes even longer. All right, so we're going to do some tests again, and then get the plane started and rolling. Okay. Okay, that was good. Got our stuff on already. Trim air. All right, squib test. Okay, now I'm going to reposition here because I want to show this off. What we're going to be doing is a fire check. Now, a lot of you are used to 737, the NG, where it's all right here at your right knee. Here, it's the first officer or the flight engineer that does the check. Got the lights, got the needles moving, lights on. Cargo, and we could of course do it right here. Cool. And we gotta, let's just kind of zoom it up. Remember, if it says test, we test. I don't think we have A or B here. Let's move back. Okay, again, we have test. Okay, lights are out. Looks good. We got doors open. I don't think our doors are open for the cargo. I want to sneak outside and take a look. They did this. They did close on me. All right. They got done. They closed. That's pretty cool. All right. Just realize that, folks. All right. Real quick, what I'll do here is get this because, okay, those are off. All right. Let's do a wheel brake test. I'm sorry, brake temperature check. Push the test button. Light on. They're in on fire mode. And guess what? They're good. Everything else looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 will not light up because some of the doors are open. Lamp test. Told you, if it says test, I push it. Okay, gauge chest. Gauges look good on the hydraulics. Let's go ahead and put the electric on. All right, so we're going to go ahead. 58.8 for fuel. Okay. All the idiot lights went off, except for the loose nut behind the wheel. All right, so those all checked out. Now we're going to check our cross feeds. Should go dark. Should go dark. Light. Dark. Light. Dark. Same thing. Do it for each one, folks. You could do this on the 737 and, oops, I just did it twice, sorry. Okay, off. On. You can do it in the 767, the Airbus, I did it fast again, out, off, okay. All right, hit the gauge reset, okay. Fuel heats are off. And our takeoff weight, stand by. Just getting up to a quick reference, 507. 2. Cool. And 58.8, and we're looking for good enough. All right, so basically all our checks are done. All we have to do now is get the APU on and trim air, get the air in the cabin, and get the people feeling better. All right. APU is real simple. Actually, before we do that, I'm sorry, I did miss something. Engine oil. Make sure your quantities are full, which they are. And then we're going to come down, turn the panel lights up again. We also have a radio switch here too, so you can, if you're going to play back here only, you can enjoy. We'll go ahead and just turn them all up. Hey, look, an indicator light test, another test switch. This one though, I can. All right, all the lights are on. Test off. Okay. Let's get that APU going. Okay, we're gonna get the first light off. Now we're waiting for the APU door to open. That's what allows the air into the turbine back there. Door lights off. We hit start. Hold it for a 3 count. 2, 3. And we're just waiting for everything to throttle up here. Okay, now if you really want to do this realistically, folks, you could, once you get word that the generator is, or ground power is hooked up, you can actually go through and do your external power checks to make sure you have volts and you have frequency in it. Same thing for the APU. See the reason the needle's not going up on volts? I'll show you. There are 2 generator switches for each half of the APU. Close the top ones. Okay, you can already see amps just came on. Now when you do this, look, volts, 115, 400-ish on the frequency. Folks, that's what they're supposed to read. I go to generator 2, so they'll zero out. Look at that. There they are again. Okay, we'll leave them there for now. All right. And let's close the first side, close the second side, and as you saw, also closed us off the external power. So guess what they can do outside? The rampies can unplug us.
Cockpit to ground. Disconnect ground power.
And see, the cargo, this is what I don't pay attention to much. They actually closed. Here it comes.
Ground power disconnected.
Okay, so we're now on the APU internal power now. So the aircraft is on its own power. Granted, in a few moments after pushback, it'll be under its own wing engine generators. I'll call it that. Let's get the bleed air on. Let's get some recirculation fans on, and let's turn to get some air flowing back there. Go to number 2. Same thing. I like to go to half first, make sure the needles come up, then go to full. Even though we're not going to be here long, folks. Same thing with number 3. We've got a full load. I'm going to turn on the humidifier and the Gasper fan. Actually, the Gasper fan comes on. It just, and folks, you feel free. Comment, DM me on Discord at Flying with Mike's Discord, and let me know. But as I understand it, the Gasper valve is that final recirculation valve that sends it back into the system to be recirculated. I'm probably way out in left field, probably so far out I'm pushing Los Angeles from St. Louis from there. So with that, the last things, but anyway, it's just part of the recirculation. Leave it at that. All right, barometric pressure. The heck did I say it was? I think I said 311, 3011. 3011. So let's set that. Hang on, let me get my bearings. Here's where I was going. Right there, one notch up. Now, one thing I have remissed in doing, and thank you, JossD777, or Joss777D, I forget how that goes, but anyway, I don't set my landing altitude. One, I just don't see it here, and that's why it just escaped me to do it. I set my altitude to that. All right, so we'll set 32. That gives us 1,000 feet above, so as we fit in that envelope, if we went to 31,000 under 30.1, then switch to 29.2, it could go, it would actually come down. But anyway, you see how it fits in that envelope, so it keeps it, from going over. We're alto, and we're ready to go. All right, too much information. It's time to fly. Okay, so now we have everything. Go ahead and turn them all on. And folks, we are raring and ready to go. So we'll come over here. Checklists. To many people, folks, this is one of the greatest tools Felis gave us. The captain and first officer doing the checklist, throwing it back and forth. First officer pitching to the captain or the pilot flying, replying and checking, double checking, and then the first officer gets involved in or the flight officer gets involved in the flight engineer's desk. So, here we go.
Before start checklist, please. Gear lever and lights. Down and check. Brakes. Parked. Start levers. Off. Radios. On and check. Flight control hydraulic power. On. INS. Check in nav. Compasses. Slaved. Window heat. On. Seatbelts and no smoking. On. Emergency lights. Armed. Exterior lights. Hold on.
Okay, we're going to pause here for a second. What they're looking for is the beacon to be on.
Check. Flight instruments. Check. Altimeters and clocks.
We're not ready to push, so I turned it back off.
1, 0, 2, 0. Set and cross check. Radio INS switches. Radio. Radar and transponder. Standby. Indicator lights. Check. Engine and wing anti-ice. Off. Stall warning. Check. Mach airspeed warning. Check. Auto brakes. Check and off. Body gear steering. Arm. Anti-skid. On. Autopilot and flight director. Check and off. Takeoff warning. Check. Auto flight enunciators. Check. GPWS.
Okay, we checked it, and it does this quite a bit, folks. It just, little annoyance. All we got to do, push the button.
Check.
Pull up. Glide
Instrument
slope.
warning.
Glide slope.
Check. Flight director computer selectors. Check. Instrument source selectors. Normal. Reserve brake valve. Closed. Spoilers. Down. Static selectors. Normal. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. Brake pressure. Check. Stabilizer trim. Check and on. Rudder and aileron trim. Check. Hold on. Checklist completed.
Wonder why it said hold on. Interesting. Yeah, that one I'd never had before. Alright, now we're going to go the flight engineer.
Battery. On. APU panel. Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity 58666 pounds. Fuel panel. Check and set. Pressurization controls. Check and set. Bleed controls. Wait. Check and set. Hydraulic quantity. Check. EPR computer. This.
Okay. The checklist that we're going through here, we haven't really talked about this because I told you this is where I'm going to be doing a lot of focus on. All right. Now I can pull this up off the top here under your menus. It's right here. See? We're focused in on it. Basically, you're setting your EPRL mode. This is takeoff dry. Now there was a takeoff wet. They do not have that modeled with Felis. Okay, I was reading through a lot of documentation earlier today. Continuous, climb, cruise, go around. This is what they are looking for in the checklist. So we are going to check.
Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. This.
Again, once I do
Check
this,
and set.
he'll be happy.
Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set. Equipment cooling. Check. Passenger oxygen. Check. Hydraulic panel. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel. Check. Crew oxygen. On. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. ADPs. Off. Checklist completed.
All right. So as you can tell, before starts are started. One thing, I'm just letting it show itself. You can do this from the flight engineer's station. You don't have to be in the captain's seat. You can also do it in the first officer. Real quick, let's talk about this autopilot. I can fly the aircraft from here or from here. Autopilot can be on captain or first officer or set for both. I keep it both, keep it simple for me. For me, folks. Real world, you wouldn't do this. There are very few of these aircraft still flying, if any. 200s. Now the 400 and the 747-8s. Oh, gosh, excuse me for yawning in your ear, but the 747-400 and -8 models are out there heavy with an Atlas and a few other cargo carriers. A couple of, I think, passenger airlines still have them too. But as you can tell, that brings us to after start. I want to do one more thing while we're in the blocks here before I call better pushback. That's my calculations here. So let's first load from the data sheet. That's the same sheet, folks, if we go back and pull up under the calculator. So that's what it just plugged in. Now let's put in our runway information. Okay, and we're here in St. Louis. We're looking at an 11,000 foot runway. Okay. Good thing is you can see it's only incremented in 100s. Airport elevation 600. And we're looking at 123 for the departure. I don't think we have a slope mentioned anywhere that I can find easily. I'm sure I could if guys that are used to jet carts would know how to find them. We are on a dry runway and currently weather conditions probably wet. It is raining over Lambert. Let's see if it's raining outside. Showing it on the radar in real world. Yeah, it's raining. We're going wet. Doink. Let's go wet. All right, and that, as you can see, changing numbers already over here, folks. Temperature here is 11. And that now, with it raining, I am going to put the anti-ice on. 3011. We'll double check it. Okay, and 170 at 4. And again, you can read it from the sim, only the weather. I just put it in, folks, and I use real world. Now, granted, that's not necessarily what the sim is showing, even though it says real world updates. With X-Plane11, I can verify to you it's at least 2 to 3 hours old before that data gets to X-Plane or takes it from that old and puts it in there. So we ran into that in South America. One of my below minimum landings in an Airbus auto landed on a runway that's not probably authorized for it. Broke every FAA rule. Gotta love the sim. All right, we are going to do a flaps 10 departure. What the heck? Requiring only 2,000 of 9,000. Heck, we're not even going to be on the ground past runway 624. I don't know if that's correct or not. I remember these birds taking up a little more runway than that. But we're looking at a V1 107, rotating at 124, V2 144. And then here's our flap schedule to up. Set our speed bugs. See, now they are set. And we'll go stab trend of 2.7. Initial pitch of 18 degrees. We'll set that on the flight director, and our optimum climb speed above 10,000 will be 294. Okay. So it's already set in the window. Get the flight directors on. I'll go ahead and zoom in. And we're going to set it about between 12 and 15. There we go. To help us with setting our initial pitch. And 2.7 on the trim once we have the hydraulics up and okay, we'll get that set here in a minute. All right, so we got everything set. Now, let's make sure our EPR is set right. So we're set for takeoff. We aren't going to turn any of these on till the runway. And we can use these for derating takeoffs and all, which we're not going to do also at this time. We're going to just strictly full power, boom, instead of backing some power off. So let's close up door 1. Actually, first.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard the Boeing 747 Classic. We will depart shortly after we have our clearance and the cabin crew is finished with their preparations. For now, I wish you a pleasant flight, and I will be back during the flight with further flight information.
Okay. We get over here. By the way, here's those options I told you about, folks, where you could work your sounds, work your voices, sync your cockpit first off or captain, first officer gauges, and so forth. I believe. Oh, there are 2 pages. Anyway, back, ground, set. Okay, doors closed. Okay.
Route to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
All right, so why did I set my pushback that way? That way when I push back, it'll go just enough farther to get those gears lined up, so easier wear and tear on the aircraft. That's what it's all about, folks. Everything on this plane is expensive, even in the day it was built. The only thing left are the chocks.
Cockpit to ground. Remove the chocks.
Chocks removed. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Cabin crew, arm slides.
All doors are closed and armed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your chief flight attendant, and on behalf of our captain and
See, I can turn them off.
please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. Also make sure that your tray table has been stowed away and the back
So
of your
connected
seat is in
and
upright
bypass pin
position.
inserted.
We request
Release
that
parking
all
brake.
attention and
All right,
cabin
folks.
crew will demonstrate
We're not flying for any VA today,
when the seatbelt
so
sign is illuminated.
we are just as free as a bird. So we're not worried about anything going on with them. Here we go.
Pulling the loose end of the strap.
And we're not on VATSIM.
Lift the upper
So
portion of the
again,
throttle.
training purposes, I may be pausing it to see what am I doing wrong.
If you're seated next to the emergency exit,
That's what we're using. Oh, I forgot to push the jetway away.
save your board card. You will find it in the seat pocket in front of you. If you do not wish to perform the functions described in the event of an emergency, please ask the flight attendant to receive you. There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit. The exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor level lighting will guide you towards the exit. Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Each door is equipped with an inflatable slide.
All right, so now we could begin starting engines. I'm going to wait till we're pushed back.
Will appear automatically in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place the mask
Actually, I guess I should start
adjust
now.
the headband and breathe
Ready to
normally.
start the engine.
Although the bag does not inflate,
Ready for engine start.
blow into the mask.
Okay, once we turn the valve on, wait for those two messages. Now, I'm going to try to do this using the one system today. Oop. So basically what I like to do is first packs off. You remember that was one of the checks that I went ahead and did and then backed off. Okay, waiting for the pressure to build up. Okay, here we go. Startup number 3. That's what I start first. System 1.
Starting engine 3.
Starter valve open.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
More air can be added by blowing into the tube.
Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All electronic devices must
This
be
is
at the
what we're
aircraft
waiting to see at 20.
until further
It'll tell you
on
to.
arrival. Please let me remind you
20%
that
and two.
non-smoking flight.
Fuel on.
Also the use of electronic cigarettes, tampering
Light
with
up.
smoke detectors, loading
Starter
of
off.
batteries is prohibited by law.
Okay,
You will
and then
find
you
this
can
and
check
all
up
the other
here.
safety procedures
Your
in the
N2
board card. Located
is right
Engine
here,
stabilized.
oil and so forth. And then up front here,
before takeoff.
for the pilot, we have EGT and 1 and so forth.
One of our crew members. We wish you all a
Okay,
pleasant flight.
we're stable. Let's start up number 4. Now this one I always end up,
Starting engine 4.
got it on the
Starter
first
valve
one.
open.
Okay, once you get starter valve, let her go. I am going to do 2 engines next. excuse me there.
So is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
20% and 2.
Okay.
Fuel on. Light up.
Starter off. Engine stabilized.
Show me the pins. Thank you, sir. And quick hit of the lights. Alright, and now we're on number 1.
Starting engine 1.
Starter valve open.
Okay, and then let's watch N2 and be ready to move. Oh, I was going to do 2 at once. Oh well. Just saves a little bit of time, that's all. Okay, there's 20.
20% and 2.
Fuel on. Light up.
There you go, lighting
Starter off.
in one building. Fuel flow looks good, EPR is building.
Engine stabilized.
Okay, finally, number 2.
Starting engine 2.
Starter valve open. Twenty percent and 2.
Fuel on. Light up.
Starter off.
And there we go, folks, all 4 up and running.
Engine stabilized.
Okay. Head back over here real quick. Okay, so we want to make sure the flight recorders are on, start switches are off, beacon lights should be on. Let's go ahead and on with the probe heat. And they're off. And we're good light-wise. Come back here. Brake pressure, start levels, idle, detent, electric panel, pack valve, store warning, hydraulic set, flight record. Got all that, folks? Basically, engine 1 generator, 2, 3, 4. Get those online. Close the split. So now the APU is off the electric bus. The engines are running it. Plus they're running the bleed system. So, well, they will be when I turn, well, they are. Then when the packs come on, we feel the effects. Bleed off. Stop. Doink. Okay, we're back on with the power. Auto. Cargo heat on. And body gear steering looks good. All right.
After start checklist.
Flight recorder.
On.
Start switches.
Off.
Beacon lights.
On.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Start levers.
Idle detent.
Engine anti-ice.
On.
Electrical panel. Check. Pack valves. Open. Dual warning lights. Out. Hydraulic panel. Check. Flight recorder. On. After start checklist completed.
All right, let's do our taxi. Flaps to 10.
Flaps 10.
Okay. Takeoff bugs are set. Probe heats are on. Flight controls. Let's do a quick check of those. And to me, folks, this is pretty important. Now, we can do it a couple of ways. I actually like the way it's done here. The gauge, you can actually, here, let's just pull it up. You can actually watch the needles moving on the aileron. You can't in the 727 from FJS. I wish they would get a gauge like this. But yeah, you can see them moving and the spoilerons. See the elevator moving. Always make sure it's zeros in the when it stops, and then the rudder. Freedom of movement. All right, and then be gone. All right. Again, something nice we can do. Just running down yaw dampers, seat belts, APU fuel heat, auto. Again, told you we could do all of this from here. Totalizer, engineer panel set, aft cargo heats on, start.
Taxi checklist, please.
Flaps. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Takeoff data, EPR and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Stabilizer trim.
Set in green band.
Probe heat.
On.
Flight controls.
Check.
Yaw dampers.
Check.
Seatbelt and shoulder harness.
Check.
APU. Off. Fuel heat. This.
Did he want it on? Oh. Oh, well. Okay. Well, we'll do it. We'll go back to off.
Off. Totalizer and gross weight. Set. Flight engineer and pilot panels. Check. Aft cargo heat. Normal. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check. Taxi checklist completed.
All right. So we're ready to go. Real quick, let's take a look at this departure because we need frequencies set here. First one I'm going to do is this because we know it's my favorite numbering. I love easy numbers. Runway heading. Let me pull this up. Charts. All right. So you can see our departure here, folks. First off, our taxi. Hang on. Bear with me a second. There we go. All right. So you can see where we are. We're going to come out to this is Charlie. Taxi all the way down here to 12 right. Take off. We'll probably be airborne by here. Just continuing out runway heading. We'll go to 5,000. Don't think we have an initial departure. Oh, we do. 3,000. Okay, and wait a minute. Jets maintain 5,000. Oh, I'm on 5,000. Okay, that is set. So we are going to take off. I'm trying to think. Do I want to bank? Would we bank right? We probably would bank to the left. Come to St. Louis and fly it out. I'll be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen this departure, so. And that'll also pick up where we can track out on St. Louis. All right, so St. Louis is 17.4. Alright folks, I am going to make this a little bit easier so you can see a little, well, you're not going to really see much. Okay, so we'll just talk it through and then do it. Okay. Alright, so from, like I said, we're going to take off 1, 2, go out a little ways, make our turn, easing it around to go direct to St. Louis. We will probably just get on the FMC, so that's one less thing we're not doing. Because basically what I want to do is put a lot of my focus up here and on that EPR gauge. Okay, so we'll fly out, come in over St. Louis, out over Cabot, 281, out to Hallsville, 114.2, and then up to BQS, just so you know after. Okay, so Hallsville, 114.2. Okay. Again, our taxi is going to be Charlie to the runway. All right, here we go, folks. St. Louis ground. TWA 754 heavy, taxi to runway 12 right for departure. All Ozark 8 departure, Hallsville. Roger. Taxi via Charlie. Runway 12 right. Cleared. Taxi cleared to cross 624. TWA 754. Hey, let's do it, folks. Lights on, strobes, wing, tweaker grid, and making sure. Here we go.
Parking brake released.
Here we go, folks. Just getting the trim set. Remember, folks, the nose gear is actually a little behind you, so you will sometimes at some very narrow airport runway, taxiways and all, you very well will be sitting over the grass.
Cabin ready.
Okay. By the way, this is the area where the TWA aircraft used to park the 747s. They no longer have it modeled, and that's because they're not here anymore. Okay, we said Charlie. That's this one. All right, after an hour and a half, folks, of pre-flight, we're taxiing. It's interesting, the pre-flight will probably be longer than the flight itself. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set radar altimeters. I'm going to set them for 400. Oh, we're getting still some lightning out there. Interesting. Didn't know we had thunder showers. All right, folks. Yeah, this is where I live. I live in the St. Louis area, actually on the Illinois side, close to Scott Air Force Base, Mid-America Airport. Some may know that, but most people, if they know Air Force bases, they know where Scott is. But you get a listen to that. About 20 years ago, folks, nothing but red and white with red stripes in there. Now, American, owned by America West. Totally different. 20 years, a lot of airlines, all amalgamated into American, United, and Delta. Yeah, you got your Southwest, you got your JetBlue and Frontier, but for the most part, all the big airlines we all come to know in our youth, my youth, gone. Gobbled up in some way or just gone. Pan Am, TWA, Braniff. Haven't heard any thunder yet, folks. Okay, let's go ahead and
Cabin crew, take your seats.
all right, let's do our final checks, which are our before takeoffs, icing, transponder. Let's get the radar on, back down to 0, transponder to TARA, and we'll hit some brakes. There comes the rain. That doesn't really show up on the windshield. All right, ignitions to flight start. Try something. Let's see if it'll let me do it. It should. And if not, we'll put the other four on. Body gear and packs closed. All right, folks, in the event we have to reject takeoff, that'll be for engine fire, low oil pressure on any of the engines. As long as we're below 107, I believe was the magic number, we'll reject. Yep, above 107, we're going to put the bird to flight. 124's VR, 144's V2. Okay, let's do our before takeoff. Now we will have to skip or check and not do until we're on the runway, the body gear one. Pack valves closed, pressurization auto, fuel boost on, cross feeds checked, good. All right, so we're gonna hold short, do this check real quick.
Before takeoff checklist.
Icing considerations.
Check.
Cabin alert. Check. Transponder. Check. Ignition.
Hold on.
I wondered. Told you that. So they want them both systems.
Flight start.
Body gear steering.
Hold on.
That one I knew, and we are going to go check.
Back valves. Closed. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Fuel boost pumps. On. Cross feed valves. Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
St. Louis Tower, TWA 754 Heavy, ready to go, 1-2 right. Roger, runway heading up to 3000, TWA 754. Clear for takeoff. And the next checklist will be after takeoff. And then that'll be it. Till we get over towards KC. Now we may not run those audible ones, because they really don't really affect a lot of stuff until below 10,000 feet. Okay, on the runway, I'm going to go ahead, set my brake for now. I need to open up a file. Okay. All right, folks, here we go. All right, so basically what we're doing here before we go, we're in takeoff drive. Hang on. Going to EPR and AT switch. Wait a minute. This is once we power up. So here we go. Oh, that's a good parking brake. Calling it stable.
Cross set.
80 knots.
Nose down.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Gears up.
Nope, we blew through 3. Oh, we're going to 5. So.
Thousand to level off. Flaps 5.
Coming, did it? 10,000. Alright, I messed up. That's okay, couple things. Get some flaps up.
Flaps 1.
Alright, here we go. Let's make a turn. 09, let's go
Down to level off.
300. We'll go 360. That should be in VS now. Oh, it's off. Okay.
Flaps up. $10,000.
Okay, so there's 31. Okay, I just want to see how we're doing here. Because I want to get this thing. All right, now we're direct. That's one less thing to worry about, folks. Now let's get her climbing. All right, so where did I screw up again? I don't take it out of EPR. That's what I did, and I didn't get it into climb. Oh, I do have one thing I do need to do behind me. Probably not the best way, but here we go. Whoop.
After takeoff checklist.
Gear lever. Off. Landing and logo lights. Off. Ignition.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking sign.
Check.
Pack valves. Open. Fuel heat. Wait. Auto. After takeoff checklist completed.
Okay, folks, well, we got through that real quick. Little late, but, you know, got to take it slowly, step by step. We got to work through the climbing, because that's where it's getting me the most. We're on EPR, we're at altitude select. I didn't set altitude select on takeoff. That's where it got me. Also did not go to IAS quick enough so that I could get into the proper climb attitude for to 3,000, 5,000 in our case. But we're working through it. We'll get it. Just a lot happens, folks. I came very close to pausing it. I don't like, man, what is going on with my vertical speed? It's doing that again. We're on EPR, we're in climb. IAS, yeah, the vertical speed is all over the place. Let's go ahead and get wing ice on because we're in clouds. Okay, that seems to be doing better. Now let's get that transition level set. Okay. Still on climb, still EPR. At least we're climbing decently now. Okay, I'm just kind of looking ahead here. Okay, our Mach number is still a little shaky here on our IAS. Just make sure I have it on IAS. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to get the 31,000. We're going to see what Mach 0.85 is. Probably going to be about 320 indicated on the speed dial. We'll see. This bouncing up and down. Wow. And I'm not doing it, folks. Well, I am. I'm the one behind the loose nut. But it is just... not very good on holding the pitch. I must have done something incorrect. Cannot find it.
Level off.
All right, I think I got that part down right. All right, folks. Well, not the greatest of flying by this guy. I don't know if we're having issues, maybe. I mean, watching that vertical speed, folks, it was not. I'm gonna have to try this in X-Plane11 to see if there's much change. I mean, look at the speed difference. All right, so again, just looking ahead. All right, so here comes our Hallsville. Let's do a quick look here, folks, because guess what? We're going to get to top of the ascent pretty doggone quick, and I don't want to miss it. All right. For now, we'll get rid of this because we made it to 31. Okay, we're 50 miles from top of descent. Let's see what that translates to here. Again, we got to be at 12,000. Okay, it's not showing, so we're going to be coming down. miles. All right. Altitude hold. So we're going to set to 12,000. That's why I like this route, folks. Basically flying from TWA hub to TWA hub. Kansas City, more of the maintenance hub than St. Louis was. Makes for a nice transfer. And we got 293 peeps behind us. Okay, so we're going to be dropping from 31,000 down to, so what we're going to do here, folks, is switch off the auto throttle. Go to VS. Set up our descent. I'm going to do it at about 2,200 feet a minute. I'm going to manually work the speed. Let me get the EPR gauge up. 1500 little more. Let me go ahead and set 294 again. Let's go 290. And then we can use our IAS or Mach to come down. We'll come down IAS. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, we are in our descent. Please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are up. Follow the flight attendant's instructions. Should be on the ground in about 30 minutes. Again, thanks for flying TWA. See you in about 30 minutes on the ground. Flight attendants prepare for landing. Okay. I think we'll just do it in VS. Okay, now what am I saying in VS? Help you guys out here. There we're talking using the speed knob here, or auto pitch knob is what I call it. We'll keep it in VS. 290 we'll try to maintain. Now we could throw it into IAS and it'll do it itself, but this way I make sure it maintains that 2,300 foot a minute drop. IAS, as we saw, could go all over the chart, and we missed the 12,000 foot mark at Bremer. So, and I need to go back to EPR. No, stay in speed. Okay. And then from there, we'll be descending. I'm just going to walk you through it. We got to stay above 12 at Mats. And then, have anything? Oh, 12,000 at Mats. And then we'll start again descending down to make our ILS. Okay. Now, Bremer is 15. Hang on, get this out of the way. 15:35. Put it over here just because we can then watch it. Go. Okay, once we cross Bremer, we then head to Donus. That's where, if you're landing 927, you break away for the approach. Probably even the 19s. Then we continue to Mats, again, 12,000 feet. Then with IJEC, we got to be at 210, which is my speed and my descent. And then we turn to 190 vectors for the sweet, delicious arrival of spicy barbecue turkey ribs. Gotta love that lineup, folks. Oh, I'm sorry, I cracked myself up. Okay, we're right on to. It says we're slow. Hang on, why am I slow? My speed dial here is showing me right on track. Okay, we are 44 miles from our Oh, I screwed that up. I could have came down to 20. Dang it. Oh well, we'll hold at 12. Gives us plenty of time to get things set up for the drop at Mats. Misread it. That's the turbojet south landing, which would be our 19s. Okay, there's coming up to 18. Let's get our landing performance in. Landing performance today will be 9,500. Altitude 1,000 feet. Landing 00011. We'll go dry. Temperature here in KSTL 3019 and 9. Okay, 3019. Our winds 3201. I think it's 10. My bad. 10. So we're set. All right, so we need at medium brakes 5,600, minimum 73. That's something to think about. And there's our flap speeds. We'll go medium. I didn't forget this time, Jose. Unless there's a different... Where the heck do I set it? Alright, I'm going to have to learn where I set that. Okay, I'm lost. Alright folks, in the comments, let me know where I'm screwing up. I don't know where to set my landing altitude. Shameful. 3011. We're already at 14. I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back.
Level off.
All right. Glad I caught that right then and there. I missed that. Where do I set landing altitude? Kind of wish I was on a live stream now. And again, folks, you can catch those on Twitch. Flying with Mike. This obviously is not one of those. Kind of bumming here, folks. And altitude hold. Yeah, that kind of bummed me out there, folks. Okay, 18 miles in. Let's get some power in. We're on hold. All right, I don't know where to set the landing altitude. I'm going to have to go through the charts again and look for it. I will report back on that one, folks. Alright, yeah, I'll have to get back with y'all on where that lever is, or switch. Let's make sure it's not hiding up top here. Nope. Got a couple minutes to do a little quick scan. Don't see it. I am blind as a bat here, folks. I don't know where that is. Okay, we're about to cross Braemar, and then we're going to turn to heading at 234. Okay, so we're coming around the corner here, leveling the wings. So we're gonna go to manual thrust. So we turn off the auto throttle again, close the throttles, and set IAS. Okay. Got to be at 20 DME, so we got about 14 more miles to go. Then I'm gonna go ahead on nav 1, set my ILS 1075. Okay. Again, still looking for 20. Okay, so let's get set for this. We're getting close. And I want to be able to come down to 2,000 by Turkey. We're going to go ahead and come on down to 6,000. That's a safe altitude. We're just going to kind of do what my, not a tutorial so much as helping me with what's called the frats. We'll get you the acronym here in a minute. 17, so we're 3 miles out. Let me punch into the middle here. You can watch this. So what we're going to be doing, Okay.
$10,000.
Okay, now we're gonna set, I'm gonna go ahead and set like 187. And as we close into Bijik,
$1,000 level off.
miles. $39. Okay, we're going to go ahead and make the turn. Begin setting up. Okay, I'm just kind of
Approach checklist, please.
Seatbelt and shoulder harness.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On.
Anti-ice.
On.
Exterior lights.
Check.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Radio INS switches.
Radio.
Flight director computer selectors.
Check.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Spoilers.
Hold on. Armed.
Altimeters.
1022. Set and cross-check.
Landing data, EPR and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel heat. This. Off. EPR computer. Go around. Cabin altitude. Check. Circuit breakers. Check. Approach checklist completed.
Okay, I know I haven't been talking much here, folks. We're getting ready to set up for our capture here. We're setting, you can kind of just watch and see. It's keeping my attention pretty heavy here. Okay, coming up on that. Let's back down to speed. The thing now we got to do is try to get in here on a 30 degree. We're at 4,000. So what I'm going to do, let's see, we'll go to about a 330 heading.
Flaps 1.
Okay, so we're GA now. All right, we're headed for SPEC'S.
cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for landing. Please fasten your seatbelts. Adjust the back of your seat in the upright position and stow your tray table. Stow your luggage in the luggage bin or under the seats in front of you. Our cabin crew will make a final check and pick up any remaining cups and
Okay,
glasses.
we're just about to intercept. Don't think I got to do anything else up there.
Localizer alive.
Yeah, we're going to be slow here for the next 15 miles. Yeah, Kansas City Tower, TWA 754 heavy. Honda localizer, 1 right. Roger, cleared to land, 1 right. TWA 754.
Cabin ready.
That's a good sign. Let's get this thing slowing.
Flaps 5. Flaps 10.
Okay, we're 12 miles out. Just about to grab the localizer. We'll keep the gear till about 5 to 8 miles out. I think I'm starting to see the runway. Runway inside.
Gear down. Flaps 20. Gears down, green light. Flaps 25. Flaps 30.
Okay, folks. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist.
Gear.
Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30. Ignition.
Flight start.
Anti-skid.
Check.
Altimeters. 1, 0, 2, 2. Set and cross-checked. Landing checklist completed.
Okay, cleared to land. Checklist complete. Cabin crew ready.
Gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly.
Flaps
Please make
full,
sure your
spoilers
seatbelts
arm,
are
brakes
securely
set,
fastened.
cleared to land. Getting a little bit of wind shear.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Stable landing.
Approaching minimums. Minimums. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10. Check reverse. Out, off, reverse. 60 knots. Auto brake off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our destination airport. Please
I'll
remain
leave it to the
seated
flight
until
attendant.
the captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Flaps up.
Okay, folks, we'll be doing the after landing check here as soon as we're squared away. I gotta get the spoilers down. Okay, and let's see how it looks. Body gear, auto brakes, ignition off. Okay, we'll get those real quick. Just making sure outflow valves over here. Radar traps, flaps, 7. Okay. Cargo key off. And 7. Okay.
After landing checklist.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Body gear steering.
Arm.
Outer brakes.
Off.
Ignition.
Off.
Engine and wing anti-ice.
Off.
Radar and transponder.
Standby.
Flaps.
Up.
Spoilers.
Down.
Stabilizer trim.
7 units.
Outflow valves. Open. Pressurization mode selector. Manual. Aft cargo heat. Off. APU. Check. Checklist completed.
Now the fun part of taxiing in. Alright folks, like I said, the pre-flight went longer than probably the flight. And we're at 2:42, so yeah, but just about like that. Alright, thankfully we never had to hit the pause button. Probably should once we got airborne just to get things set right, but it's going to just take time. A lot of things in this plane happen on takeoff. Landing, not as challenging, but takeoff, it just, boy, it just mind boggles me. Let's get out here. Didn't get to see much of her. Just gonna take this slot right here. Alright, that's gonna have to do. Brakes on. It probably did not take. So in that situation, see, it doesn't say the parking brake's on.
Cockpit to ground. Put the chocks on.
So guys that you want to fly this with your VAs, you got to do this.
Chocks are on.
And then it'll allow you to do what you need to with it. Let me go ahead and just get rid of that's annoying. Alright, so we're in. All we got to do now, come over here. Okay, we're on the APU, going over to the bleed. I want to try something while we're here. Was told cabin altitude. I can't go any lower than 21, so it's not there. So again, folks, in the chat room, if you would love to know where do you set the landing altitude. I don't see it. Don't worry. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you say, hey, you're blind. So let me know, and I'm going to check the manuals here once we shut down. All right, so we're on generator. Here come the engines. 1, 2. All right, go over here. Real quick with the checklist. Next, brakes parked, beacon lights on, INS align, probe heat off. Okay, so we can do that, that, and that. It is gonna bark at us that the parking brake is not set. So just to let you know.
All right, secure cockpit checklist. Brakes. Damn.
Told you. We know it's set.
Beacon lights. Damn. Off. INS. Align. Probe and window heat.
Yeah, I didn't get the window heat.
Off. Back valves. Check. Fuel boost pumps. This. Off. Reserve tank valves. Closed. Hydraulic panel. Check. Oxygen. Check. Flight recorder. Off.
Emergency lights. Hold on. Off. Radar. Hold on. Off.
INS. This. Off. Radio switches. This.
Cabin crew, disarm slides. Checklist completed. Checklist completed. Cockpit to ground. Connect ground power. Ground power connected.
All right, folks, we are in. I got all the checklists done. The only thing we have left to do, come in here to payload, deep plane, and unload. Unload will unload just as quickly as it did before deep plane. As you can see, goes down at a steadier rate. So, but folks, we are in Kansas City. Let's take a look, shall we, at what we did, because in a normal stream situation, I'd be able to look here and see what my landing rate was, but since we're just recording, we're going to have to look at it. And oh my goodness, if that's true, this is awesome. All right, so let's pull it up. First things first, finish the flight. Okay, now, it wasn't Pan Am we flew for, but that was the tail number. That was my bad. No biggie. Again, don't worry about that kind of stuff. All right, there's our aircraft. Quick details, 205 miles. landing rate of 50 feet a minute. It felt good. Flight time 1 hour and 19 minutes. And not bad looking at it. Like I said, there's a lot of data that you get here. All right, so long as it's set in SimBrief on the right and you land on that runway, you're going to get really good data. Like say I somehow it went to one left. Well, it would say 6,000 miles off the center, or feet off the center line. Threshold distance, I don't know how. Yeah, it would be off. But we're on the right runway. That's the only downside. You got to make sure you do that. But folks, this tells you a lot. Okay, ideal was 10 degrees. I was 8. That's why I was almost 14 feet off the center line. 221 on the pitch. I think I got her up right, but we're, right there on the speed. 50 feet a minute. That, oh my goodness, that is a really good landing. Wow. Oh, we're now hoping it will allow us to review and watch this. I got about 145 people to go. Oh, I didn't turn that on for you. Doggone it. You just have to take what I said for... Alright, there's some toolkit, folks. Sorry about that. Okay, again, on your logbook, it's this icon here. Click this. Oh, it was already on landing reports. Anyway, let me do it right. Okay, so from the logbook, you click the flight you want, which usually is the one you just did at the top. Gives you the details of the runway. Again, shows your numbers. This is actually really interesting. We'll explain it. I like explaining it to y'all because a lot of y'all go, what the heck are all of these hash marks on these runways? Those in the know how important they are. So that's why I like to tell you. Again, here's what we did heading-wise, what the ideal was, the difference. Again, led to the 14 feet to the right. Airspeed right about on the numbers when I touched down. Not sure if I pulled up too hard or not, but it looks like I did pretty good. So now, let's get down here and look at these. All right, so you see these hash marks. Well, the first one you got to contend with is this long line here. That's where, from that point further down the runway in front of you is where you land. That's the threshold. Landing in here can be precarious. It's just meant to protect the grass. It's a blast pad, basically. All right, even though the FAA calls it something totally ridiculous. But anyway, then we have these hash marks, this big point here, and then several more down the runway. Okay. Now, what are they? They delineate the landing zone, where you touch down between this one. Is that right? Hang on, did I get the right one up here? I think I did. Between this one and that threshold, you're in the landing zone, and that's what pilots really gauge on. Folks, they don't have the gauge in there to go, you landed at 551 feet per minute. See the chief pilot. No, they don't have that gauge. Sorry. They can just judge it on their own. We get that ability here, 50 feet a minute. Okay, and there's where I actually touched down. Now, I told you I was going to come back to these guys right here, these big pads. Oh, by the way, each one of those hashes are 500 feet down the runway. Gives you an idea how much is at the end, plus the runway distance remaining markers off, usually, whichever side they put them on. This, however, is where your ILS glide slope is. The ILS is actually at the other end of the runway, so you have good lateral navigation. Your vertical is handled right here because this is the ideal point visually to plant those wheels. And when you fly an airplane, one airplane, continuously, you get pretty good at aiming at that point. That's why it's called the aiming point. Oh, and I'm yawning again. My apologies, folks. So, anyway, there you go with the runway. And again, 50 feet a minute. Not bad. Alright, so let's go ahead, get rid of Sim Toolkit. Let's see if all the peeps have left the plane. Hey, certainly have. What I'm going to do, just because I know some of these planes... Oh, the cargo doors are already closed again for us. Let's get that away. We're going to try to replay this so we can kind of... What X-Plane does, and this may be just a beta thing, but if you fly X-Plane 11, you can replay your flights, folks. You can't do that in MustFuss very easily. Got to get an application, start it where you want to start looking at it, and make sure it's running. Otherwise, you can't do it in MustFuss. In X-Plane, it's always running, but in X-Plane 12, you roll the dice if it will work or not. 9 out of 10 times. For me, it crashes to desktop. So let's see what happens. So we'll go up here. You go to flight. Toggle replay mode. Now, folks, what this will do if it works. Like I said, we're in beta, so there's, it's a crapshoot if it'll work or not. But when it is in general release, you could go all the way back to when you started the stream. Or started, not the stream, my bad. Started the flight. So when you start X-Plane 12, you could go all the way back to that point and watch your flight all over again. No, we're not doing that, folks. We're just going to pray that it works. Hey, look at that. That's what it's supposed to do. 9 out of 10 times, it does not. Thank you, X-Plane12-Beta14. Now, all you got to do is move it back to where you want to be. Okay, you can see. Getting closer. That looks like a good starting point. And of course, being in here is never a good place to be. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure we turn that down a little. All right, and Maestro, would you be so kind as give us some appropriate music here? Like I said, you could take it all the way back to where we started 2 hours, 44 minutes ago on this thing and watch it from there. The gear is about to come down. We got into some wind shear here, folks. That was quite fun. And it looked, you could see how the plane's just bumping around. And part of that's that loose nut behind the wheel. But this is awesome that we get to do this. That, wow. Let's go back, watch that again. Alright, let's take a look at it from a good friend of ours building a Hawker simulator in his garage for home simulator use. Hawker 125C. Boy, I don't know if we woke him up on that landing or not. But most of the time, this is where he would like to be. This guy can't complain, folks. See if it looked any better on this side of the runway. One more time. Just for Hawker 125 and where he wish he could be when these aircraft are coming in. Out the hold line. Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't see a problem. See how the tower liked it. All right, folks. Can't really ever get a bad landing out of the tower. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed the 747 Queen of the Sky. Call it a tutorial flight for both you, viewer, and me, the captain, first officer, and flight engineer, purser, probably flight attendant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14. So welcome. We hope you enjoyed flying with us aboard TWA Flight 574 or 754 into Kansas City. Folks, I hope you all have a great day. We will see you live next time, hopefully, on Twitch, Flying with Mike. But if not, YouTubers, it will be out here in a few days. So I hope you all had a great time, enjoyed the Queen of the Skies, and folks, we'll see you again next time. Have a great day. God bless every one of you. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you again on Twitch and on YouTube. Bye now.